The NASCAR Cup Series race in Phoenix Raceway has concluded, and we see Hendrick Motorsports continue their domination and go back-to-back at Phoenix. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. I just got done watching NASCAR Cup Series race in Phoenix Raceway, the United Rentals Work United 500. We got a lot to talk about from this race, including the short track package. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So, before the green flag drop in today's race, only one driver had to go to the rear of the field, and that was Zane Smith for unapproved adjustments. So, at the start of the race, Kyle Larson lead the field from the inside, and Denny Hamlin on the outside, and Kyle Larson is able to get the lead. But the next lap, William Byron passed Kyle Larson for the lead and was able to get up front and pulled away from Kyle Larson. Meanwhile, Joey Logano got loose and had some contact with Martin Truex Jr., but they were able to continue on in the long run. Meanwhile, William Byron had about a second lead over Kyle Larson for the most part through stage number 1, but he would end up dominating through stage 1, put a lot of cars a lap down, and he would win stage 1 at Phoenix Raceway. On the next restart, all the cars would actually come down pit road, with Kyle Larson basically taking a lead after pit stops. A.J. Allmendinger get penalized for speeding, and also Tyler Reddick had a bad pit stop where he dropped a wheel nut at a slow stop and dropped from 5th all the way back to 12th. So on the restart, Kyle Larson lead the field from the inside and William Byron on the outside, and William Byron was able to hold along for second side by side with Larson, but Kyle Larson was able to clear and was able to get the lead and continue his domination. We stay green so much that we have green flag pit stops and Denny Hamlin coming in first. Then the next lap, Kyle Larson and William Byron were first and second at a time. They would come into pit road with most of the leaders. Then after that, most of the rest leaders came down the road, Kyle Larson basically resuming and having the race lead. Then on lap 138, the next caution race come out for Aric Almirola, who unfortunately ended up basically having a wheel hub basically break inside the car. The wheel basically broke in the car, bringing out the caution. Meanwhile, during green flag pit stops, Kyle Busch, Michael McDowell, Eric Jones, and a couple other drivers all got penalized for issues on pit road. And after the Aric Almirola incident for the replacement of the right front tire, he basically had to sit in pit road for a couple laps. So after that, all the cars would come down pit road with Kyle Larson maintaining lead after pit stops. Meanwhile, we went back green on lap 147. Kyle Larson lead the field on the inside with William Byron on the outside, and Kyle Larson is able to clear for the race lead. He would pull away with William Byron being second and Kevin Harvick trailing third, but it would not matter for those guys. They tried to close, but it would not matter, and Kyle Larson would come off the corner to win stage number 2. Then we have pit stops happen where Kevin Harvick got into William Byron, basically ran up into the outside wall, and we moved to second with William Byron getting off third with Kyle Larson winning the race off pit road. Ty Gibbs get penalized for speeding, and Bubba Wallace, who had a solid day going, unfortunately had a terrible stop and dropped from 11th to 21st. So on the restart, Kyle Larson lead the field from the inside with Kevin Harvick on the outside, and we saw Kyle Larson able to get the race lead and continue his domination. Then green flag pit stops started happening. First, you had Joey Logano come in. Then the next lap, Tyler Reddick, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Blaney came in. Then you saw basically Kevin Harvick, Christopher Bell all come down pit road. Leaders up front. Then the next lap, Larson came into pit road and pitted from the lead. And it looked like Larson was going to lose the lead for Kevin Harvick at the time, but Kyle Larson was able to clear for the lead. Meanwhile, during the green flag pit stops, Daniel Suarez actually had to come back through pit road for a speeding penalty. Then with about 60 laps to go in this race, actually about 50 laps to go, Kevin Harvick had a stronger car in the second half of the race, got behind Kyle Larson, eventually passed Kyle Larson for the race lead. And it looked like it was going to be an easy Kevin Harvick when Harvick just had a better car. But with 11 laps to go, things would change where Harrison Burton, who was 32nd at the time, spun from 32nd position with a blown right front tire and brought out the caution. NASCAR once again being trigger happy with the cautions, but I think that they would have thrown the caution for the debris anyways. So then all the cars would come down pit road with Kevin Harvick being first on the pit road, but he would take 4 tires while drivers like Larson, Byron, Blaney, Chastain, and Kyle Busch all decided to take 2 tires on that. So then with 3 laps to go, because Harvick was back at 7th position at the time, Kyle Larson led the restart with him leading with William Byron on the outside, and Kyle Larson got a great restart. But then as they were going into turn number 1, Kevin Harvick basically got up there, and then Allmendinger and Noah Gragson got it together, and Ty Gibbs basically outside while wall riding, which should be a penalty. But all 3, the drivers came from the Xfinity Series last year, would get into the outside wall, bringing out the caution. So then we go to the final restart with Kyle Larson lead field from the inside and William Byron outside, and Kyle Larson got a really great restart. But William Byron also got a strong restart going into turn number 1, and William Byron got a strong run. Ryan Blaney sent it 3 wide to the bottom. Don't understand why he tried to do that. I guess he tried to make the move. And Tyler Reddick gave a fantastic push to William Byron and was able to clear for the lead. William Byron got a great run down the front stretch, and he pulled away to ahead of guys like Blaney and Reddick and those guys, and he would come off the final corner and pick up his second straight victory here in 2023, his sixth career NASCAR Cup Series victory, and his first win in the Cup Series here at Phoenix Raceway. Great job by William Byron. I don't think William Byron had the fastest car, but this is a statement win for William Byron. The fact he's gone back-to-back just shows that William Byron was great. And again, William Byron didn't have the best car today, in my opinion, but those restarts, he was aggressive on the restart, and you got to be aggressive on these late race restarts if you're going to want to go out there and win. So massive congratulations to William Byron on it. I think he somewhat deserves it. I don't think he had the most deserving car of the day, but a great run nonetheless for William Byron, and gets his second win in a row in back-to-back victories and his sixth career win. Congratulations to William Byron. He's for sure locked in the playoffs now. He's guaranteed to be locked in, and a major statement win for William Byron nonetheless, because a lot of people say that William Byron cannot stay consistent. This is a big statement win for him. Can he go 3-1 next week at Atlanta? That's one thing we're going to watch to see for sure. William Byron, congratulations to him on getting the victory. So now we're going to go look at the results of today's race, and I'll give you my score for today's race. So William Byron picks up the victory. Ryan Blaney finishes second. Ryan Blaney ran around 5th to 7th most of the day. Blaney was quiet till the end of the race, but he got up there, got up on the wheel, and almost got the victory today. A second-place run is a fantastic run for Ryan Blaney nonetheless. A top 5 run, a big bounce back from last week where Penske just seemed really, really off last week at the last race at Vegas. So see Ryan Blaney have a good run today and get second is great to see. Tyler Reddick finishes third. A great run from Tyler Reddick. First top 5 and first top 10 of the year. Reddick was about a 5th to 7th place car most of the day, so to see Reddick have a great day like he did is fantastic to see. He had 4 fresh tires wheel near the end of the race. Gets a 3rd place finish. Great run from Tyler Reddick. Kyle Larson finishes 4th. Man, what could have been for Kyle Larson? He clearly, from start to finish, had the best car, in my opinion. Unfortunately, those late race restarts kind of cost him an opportunity, and I don't think he was going to be Harvick any other way at the end, but he easily should have finished second. He still had a great run nonetheless. Another top 5 run for Larson, though. A dominating day. Just couldn't close out the deal. They got to be more aggressive on the restarts, and they got to do a little bit of a better job. But to finish 4th, it is what it is. Just hopefully Atlanta, we can have a great run there. We haven't been great at super speedways as Larson fans, but still top 5 day. Probably should have almost won this race, but it is what it is. He finishes 4th after losing a couple spots at the end. Kevin Harvick finishes 5th. Kevin Harvick was going to go on and win his 10th career race here at Phoenix, so it's a shame that they decided to take 4 tires, which cost him the race, in my opinion. But he still ended up finishing a respectful top 5 finish. I'm happy that he ended up getting a top 5 finish, all things considered, for Kevin Harvick, because he's the only one that really had anything for the Hendrick cars all day. It's a shame he didn't get the win that he deserved, but a top 5 finish nonetheless is pretty good to see. He finished top 5. I think Harvick's going to be frustrated that he finished 5th, but he wasn't too pissed off after the race, but it is what it is, and Kevin Harvick still ends up finishing top 5. So a great run for him. Chris Bell finishes 6th. Chris Bell had a bad pit stop near the end of the race in stage 2 at the end of that stage and fell back to 6th, unfortunately, but still a solid day for Christopher Bell. He's been the best performing Joe Gibbs driver all season long, in my opinion, so to see him finish 6th, so a great run from him. Chase Briscoe finishes 7th. Good run from Briscoe. Much needed run. Before this weekend, his best finish had been 20th. And early in the race, I thought Briscoe was going to be finishing as far back as he had all year long. But he worked on the car, and they got it better, and he finished 7th. So to see Chase Briscoe have as good a run as he did is great to see for Chase Briscoe. Great bounce back for Chase Briscoe. Kyle Busch finishes 8th. Considering the fact that Kyle Busch struggled a lot of the day and had a speeding penalty and multiple penalties, he should definitely take an 8th place finish. I think that's Kyle Busch's 2nd top 10 of the year so far, or 3rd top 10 of the year. So they've been pretty consistent. To finish 8th isn't bad, all things considered. I thought it'd be a little bit more of a threat, though, but the finish 8th is not bad, all things considered. Alex Bowman finishes 9th, continues his top 10 streak. He is the only driver right now that has finished in the top 10 in all 4 races of the year. I'll be honest, Alex Bowman was pretty much irrelevant all day long, about 11th, 15th place car most of the day, but nonetheless does get another top 10 and continues his top 10 streak. How about Josh Berry finishing 10th? You know, Josh Berry, as the day progressed, seemed to get better. He was running top 15 near the end of the race, so he's probably going to get around a 16th, 17th place finish, but he does end up finishing in 10th, his first career top 10 in the NASCAR Cup Series. He should be really proud of that and really happy. I think Josh Berry is only going to get better as you give him more experience, and to finish in the top 10, he should be really happy about that. So great to see Josh Berry finish in 10th. Joey Logano finishes 11th. Considering the fact that Logano at one point was 23rd or 24th, he should probably take that. Struggled most of the day. This is about as far up as he got throughout the day. So he comes out with a solid 11th place finish. Not a fantastic day for Logano, but he finishes 11th. Ryan Preece finishes 12th. A much-needed run from Ryan Preece today. Ryan Preece had a solid car, in my opinion. Not a fantastic car, but a solid car that if he had a little more time to get up there, he could have been a little bit more of a contender. But nonetheless, finishes in the top 15. Solid run for Ryan Preece. How about Michael McDowell finishing 13th? You know, Michael McDowell got a penalty, and it's unfortunate in the middle portion because I think Michael McDowell could have been a little bit more of a contender, but he does finish 13th. Not a bad run for Michael McDowell with the front row camp. I think it's the best run he's had all year so far, so happy for Michael McDowell to finish 13th. Bubba Wallace bounced back to finish 14th. Certainly had a bad pit stop near the end. They were top 15 car all day, in my opinion. Had him as an underdog pick coming into the weekend. It's just a shame that Bubba couldn't get the finish, completely get the finish that he deserved, but 14th is still a solid run nonetheless. He finishes 14th. Chris Buescher finishes 15th, been really consistent top 15 and top 10 runs all year long to start the year. Good run for Chris Buescher. Austin Dillon finishes 16th. He was terrible all day, so probably take a top 20. He got 16th. Mark Truex Jr. finishes 17th. Mark Truex Jr. struggled all day long. Was a top 20, basically on the edge of being outside the top 20 a lot of the day. He finishes 17th. Not a great run for Mark Truex Jr. Brad Keselowski finishes 18th. I feel terrible for Brad Keselowski. He had a car that could have easily won this race, or even a top 3 or top 4 car all day long. They fell back near the end, unfortunately. I think he had a bad race restart, but kind of cost him an opportunity. So he finishes 18th. Unfortunate for Brad Keselowski, finished 18th because he had a really great car today. Fell back near the end and cost him a great run. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finishes 19th. A.J. Allmendinger caused one of the late race yellows. He finished 20th. Eric Jones, who qualified very well today, finishes 21st. Daniel Suarez, who I think got involved in a late race wreck, finishes 22nd. That's a shame. He had a really decent car. Not a great car. Was going to finish in the top 15, but he finishes 22nd. Denny Hamlin finishes 23rd. Ross Chastain finished 24th. Both those guys got tangled up in a last lap incident, apparently. I have not seen the incident at this time. I'll have to go look at that incident and see if there's any tension between those two. But Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain got into each other, and they finished 23rd and 24th. Austin Cindric finished 25th. Been terrible to start 2023. It's only had one top 10 finish, and outside of that, his best finish, I think, is like 25th or 26th. So not a great start of year for Austin Cindric. Corey LaJoie had his worst run of the year so far. He finishes 26th. Justin Haley finishes 27th. Ty Gibbs, who got involved in a late race wreck, finishes 28th. Noah Gragson, same thing. He finishes 29th. 30th for Ty Dillon. Still tied for his best finish of 2023, but still not a good thing for Ty Dillon. Zane Smith finishes 31st, the first of multiple starts he'll run with the front row team this year. Zane Smith didn't run really great today. That car just did not have any pace or speed today. He finishes 31st. Todd Gillen finishes 32nd. The first time he ran 5 times he'll run with the Rick Ware team this year. He finished 32nd. Really had no pace or speed at all today, but he finished 32nd. It is what it is. Eric Almirola, after his issues, unfortunately finishes 33rd. Cody Worth finishes 34th. Harrison Burton, after having the crash, finishes 35th. And BJ McLeod, after falling out of the race due to fuel pump issues, being the only car that fell out of the race officially, he finishes 36th. So now let's talk about the overall race as a whole, and I'll talk about the short track package a little bit as well, and I'll give you my score for today's race. Honestly, for a Phoenix race, it was a decent race. It wasn't a fantastic race by any stretch of imagination. I certainly thought that this race was a little bit better than Las Vegas, in my opinion. I know Vegas had a lot of solid racing throughout the field, but I think that this race did have some pretty good racing throughout the field. You could pass a little bit easier with this car for sure, and I think the short track package did work a little better than what we saw last year. I'm not saying this really made this race a barn burner, and coming in a weekend, I didn't think this was going to be a barn burner race. I thought it was a decent race for sure. I just think Phoenix in general as a racetrack is just not really a great racetrack in my opinion. The only thing that really helps Phoenix, in my opinion, is the fact that it is a season finale and it's got a lot of really good innovations to the track and a lot of good amenities at the racetrack that really help the track. But it's not the most exciting race overall, in my opinion. So for my score today's NASCAR Cup Series race at Phoenix, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Actually, a 6.5 out of 10. I thought it was a decent race for sure. Naturally, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Other than this decent race, not a great race in my opinion. I think that we'll have more better racing with the short track package, especially next week at COTA at the road courses. I'm really looking forward to COTA in a couple weekends. And, of course, Atlanta's in a few weeks as well, which I'm really looking forward to that. But I thought it was a decent race in my opinion. 6 out of 10 is the score. I think the short track package is going to work a lot better at some of those other tracks like Martinsville and especially at other tracks on the schedule like in New Hampshire. I think those tracks that have the wet weather package are going to get improved by that. So anyways, that is for today's NASCAR race review from Phoenix Raceway. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, and channel notifications on so you're notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links go down below with that, and combo your thoughts below on today's race. What are your thoughts on today's race? Let me know below. Let me know your score in the comments below, and congratulate William Byron on picking up his second victory in a row here at Phoenix. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on my channel, we're going to have a NASCAR news video discussing some NASCAR news over the last couple of days. And trust me, we'll talk about the Hendrick Motorsports confiscation of the louvers. We'll have some other stories, including if there's any tempers from the drivers in this past weekend, among other things. And we'll also have the truck race picks on the channel as well on Monday. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode. And I'll see you guys next time for some more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.